So hi everyone. So in the previous class we have discussed about the water quality, the physical, chemical and biological water quality parameters, its limits and some of the waterborne diseases associated with polluted and contaminated water. So today in module 2, the from this part onwards, there are things related to the collection and treatment of water. So first thing is we have to collect the water from the source, and probably we have to take it to the treatment site if it is far away. So otherwise, if it is nearer to the source, we will treat according to the process of water treatment, and then we have to supply it to the consumers. Okay, so the very first phase of water treatment is the collection of water from the source. Okay, so for collection and conveyance of water, we need some structures called as intake structures. Okay, so collection and conveyance of water involves collecting the water from the source, okay, so to the treatment plant. Okay, and we have to treat the water as per the statutory requirements, and we have to see the water quality as per BIS standards, which we have seen in the previous slides for about different physico-chemical parameters, and then we have to distribute it to the consumers using the underground pipelines, or it is also called as conduits. Okay, so then what is these intake structures? Okay, so intake structures are the one which are used to withdraw the water from the source over a predetermined pool levels, and then it is discharge this water into the withdrawal conduit. So normally it is called as intake conduit, through which the water flows up to the water treatment plant. Okay, so these are the structures through which we will withdraw the water from the source. Okay, so maybe from river or a lake or canal. Okay, so depending upon our source of water, we have to draw the water and we have to treat it, and then we have to supply. Okay, so normally these intake structures, it looks like this. Okay, so you can see here, so these are located in the water bodies. Okay, and this is the one in your own city in Davangere, in near TV station reservoir. So here water is collected through these intake structures. It is having the jack wells and wet wells, so through which the water is drawn at regular intervals, and it is conveyed through the inlet conduit. Okay, so maybe from by and here it is laid and it is conveyed to the water treatment plant. Okay, so this is how it looks. These are some of the pictures which I have taken. So before locating an intake structure, we have to have some of the factors, okay, where we have to locate the intake structures. We cannot just simply locate the intake structures somewhere in the water bodies. So these are some of the factors which are to be taken into account while collecting the water using the intake structures. Okay, so as far as possible, the site should be near the treatment plant. Okay, so this is because if it is nearer, then the cost of conveyance water will be less. Okay, so because if it is through large distances, then we may have to incur more cost on the financial aspects on the project, because it involves the excavation, laying of pipelines, then to a longer distances, which is time consuming, and also it requires more cost. So we should see that as far as possible it should be the nearer to the treatment plant. Okay, and also the intake must be located in the purer zone of water to draw the best quality of the water from the source, so thereby reducing the load on the treatment plant. Okay, so we should see that, so in a river, in a flowing river, or in a reservoir, the intake should be located in a pure water zone. Okay, so because if you draw the polluted or contaminated water, then it increases load on the treatment plant. That means we have to spend more cost for the treatment of water, that is more chemicals might be consumed, then we may have to construct, or we may have to add the extra water treatment units to treat the water up to the standards. Okay, so things like this could escalate the costs of water treatment. So in that case, so we should locate the inlets in the pure water zone, and the intakes must never be located at the downstream or in the vicinity of the disposal of the wastewater. So normally after the treatment of wastewater, so we discharge the wastewater to the nearest water bodies or onto the land or onto the ocean. Okay, so if these are the sources of water, we should see that the intake structure should never be located at the downstream, okay, or near the vicinity of the disposal of the wastewater. Okay, so this should be taken into account, and we should locate intake in such an area where we can withdraw more amount of water, okay, even if it is required for a future date. So that we should locate this as per the requirement of the greater withdrawal, even in case of future period. Okay, if you require more water, then the intake should be located in such a way that we can withdraw more water, and the intake must be located at a place from where it can draw water even during the dry period of the year. Okay, so because normally this problem will happen in case of rivers and canals. Okay, so where the water will not be flowing throughout the year. Okay, so not all rivers are perennial. So in some of the rivers the water level drops. Okay, so under such circumstances we should see that the intake is located so that we can draw water even during the dry period of the season. And also the intake should remain easily accessible during floods, and it should not get flooded. Okay, so this should also be taken into account. And the intake should not be located in navigation channels. Okay, so navigation channels are the one wherein we use these for the transport of materials and other these things from one place to another, okay, using by means of water canals, or it is also called as navigation channels. Because so this may be polluted because of the travel of the people, or due to the throwing of the debris, or due to the oil spillages and all, due to the ships and boats which helps to navigate the people and material from one place to another. So it should not be located in navigation channels, and it should not be located at heavy current of water or meandering river which may damage the intake structures. Okay, the heavy current will hit the water. Okay, because of the water pressure, the concrete structure or the intake structure may get damaged. So meandering river surfaces means the water where we have very less flow of water, because less area for the flow of water. So because of that, the meandering effect will cause the damage to the intake structures due to the high velocity in the zigzag pattern near the meandering surface. So we should not locate the intake in the heavy current area or meandering water surface, which may damage the intake structure. Okay, so these factors should be taken into consideration. So design consideration includes the we should see that it should not be located in heavy currents, and also the floating materials, and it should not have any ice pressure effect, and it should have sufficient self weight so that it does not float up by the thrust of water. Okay, so because in some cases, so there will be high flow conditions in case of excess of rainfall, and maybe in whenever more quantity of water is released from the dams to the reservoirs. So we should see that it should have the enough sufficient weight so that it will not be up thrusted by the, it does not float by the thrust or the pressure of the water in the water bodies. Okay, and these are all the siting conditions for the intake structures. Then what are different types of intake structures? Depending upon the source of water, the intake works are classified as the following. So lake intakes, reservoir intakes, river intakes, and canal intakes. So these are four different types of the intake structures. Okay, so based on its location and the source of water, so they are classified as four different types. Okay, so if the intakes are located in lakes, then it is called as lake intakes. So if it is located in reservoir, then it is called as reservoir intake. So if it is located in rivers, then it is called as river intake, and if they are located in canals, they are called as canal intakes. So this is the details of the lake intake. Okay, so lake is a constant steady state water body. Okay, so the lake intake structures are usually constructed in the bed of the rivers. Okay, so this is the lake water level, and the intake structure is submerged here. So it consists of the intake structure, which is as shown here, made up of rock and the brickworks, and this is the inlet pipe through which the water is drawn, and this is the bed of the lake, and this will be the cover. So maybe it is provided with a small screen so that there won't be any entry of the floating matter or other debris which might be entering into the intake conduit. Okay, so from this the water is taken away and it is allowed to enter the water treatment facilities. Okay, so the lake intakes draws very small quantity of water compared to other river intakes and reservoir intakes. They are not used in big water supply schemes. Okay, because these are not easily approachable for maintenance, because it will be submerged in the water. Okay, so because of the submergence, so this lake intake can also withdraw water during the dry season because it will be submerged, and also it will not have any problem with respect to the navigation. Okay, so sometimes people also use lakes for the travel or from movement from one place to another, so to ferry the people and materials. So in that case it will not also pose any risk whenever the water body used for navigation purposes, okay, because it will be submerged. So these are some of the advantages and disadvantages of the lake intake structure. Okay, and this is the diagram. So sometimes you will be asked to write the diagram with explanation and advantages and disadvantages of any one type of intake in your examinations. So you should write this diagram and explain the contents. So this is called as river intake. Okay, so here water in the river is always drawn from the upstream side, like we have discussed. So we should not draw the water from the downstream side where the sewage is discharged. Okay, so it will be usually a circular masonry tower of 4 to 7 meters in diameter, and it is constructed along the bank of the river at such a place from where required quantity of water can be obtained even during the dry period. Okay, so here the water enters in the lower portion of the intake known as sump well from the penstocks. Okay, so this is the sump well. Okay, and this is the penstocks. Okay, so these are located at two levels. Okay, so because rivers are the ones which do not have constant flow. Okay, so this is the penstock which is located at a lower level. So maybe during the lean flow of the rivers, or the low flows, or probably during summers where the water level will be dropped. Okay, so in that case this penstock will be used to collect the water in the sump well. Okay, and whenever there is a good flow, so this is the highest flow level. Okay, so this penstock will be used to withdraw the water, and this penstock will be usually provided with some screens to remove the floating matters and other dead and decayed matter, or the broken branches, or some of the floating material, so which should not enter the stream of the water treatment plants. Okay, and through this well the water is pumped by using a appropriate size, the capacity of the pumps depending upon the travel of water, and through this in conduit the water is supplied to the water works. Okay, so this is the river intake. So here we also have the reservoir intake. Okay, So the figure shown in the next slide will be having the details of reservoir intakes. It consists similar to the other intakes. It also consists of an intake well which is placed near the dam, and it is connected to the top of the dam by with the help of a footbridge. Okay, the intake pipes are located at different levels with common vertical pipe. The walls of intake pipes are operated from top and they are installed in a valve room. So each intake pipe is provided with bell mouth entry with perforations of fine screen on its surface. Okay, here you can see. So this is the dam. Okay, this is called as reservoir intake. So as you know, reservoirs are the one which is used to store the water. Okay, so that water can be used for power generation or for water supply and also for the irrigation. That we call them as multi-purpose river valley projects. So this is the dam. Okay, maybe a concrete dam which is constructed across a river, okay, to store the water. So this is the upstream side and this is the downstream side. Okay, so here the water will be stored. Okay, so that is called as the reservoir. This is the dam, and the area under which the water is stored is called as the reservoir. Okay, and this is the reservoir intake structure. Okay, similar to river intake structure, so it is also a circular intake structure, so with a diameter of 4 to 6 meter, and it is connected by connecting to the dam. Okay, and from the top we have the different walls here, and this is the gangway through which we can travel to this area, and this is the intake structures. Okay, here the dam will be perforated, and through this dam the outlet is taken and this water is conveyed to the water treatment plant. So similar to the river intake, so this intake also have 3 different levels. Okay, so this is level 1, level 2 and level 3. Like I told you, so whenever there is more quantity of water, when it is released and stored into the dam, so then this top level intake pipe will be used. Okay, and this is the bell mouth entry, and it contains the screen here to remove the floatable and other impure matter entering into the water treatment system. Okay, so here this is the common vertical pipe which is connected to all the 3 intake pipes. Okay, so this type of arrangement is made in reservoir intake so that water can be drawn from different levels in the reservoirs. Okay, so this is the walls which are placed at the top in a room. Okay, so and the access to this room will be provided through a gangway. A person can enter here for repair, maintenance and opening and closing of walls. Okay, so based on the level of the water, so any one of the intake walls can be opened and other 2 can be kept closed. Okay, and we can draw the water. Okay, and if the water demand is more, then we can draw the water from all the 3 intake pipes. So this is the details about the reservoir intake. Similarly, we have the canal intake. So canals are the one wherein the water will be flowing, and the canals are used to take the water to travel to long distances for the purpose of irrigation. So from the dams the canal originate, and from there to the downstream it will travel to the long distances to irrigate the area. Okay, so here this is the canal intake structure which is as shown here. Okay, so the canal intake pipe is located in the bed of the canal. So this will also be submerged in the water. Okay, similar to the lake intake, the entry of water in the intake chamber, it takes through the core screen, so hemispherical screen which is located with a bell mouth inlet. Okay, so the bell mouth intake is provided so that a maximum water can easily enter into the intake pipe. Okay, and through this bell mouth entry the water will be allowed inside, and so to control the supply of the water, so at the top level, so a wall is placed which can be operated, closed and control the flow of water in the river intake. Okay, and this is the outlet here through which the water is taken to the water treatment entrance, to water treatment plant. Okay, So this outlet wall is operated from the top. Okay, and this is the intake chamber which is constructed in the section of the canal. Okay, so therefore it is wherever the intake structure is provided, the pitching on the downstream and upstream portions of the canal should be done. Okay, so this can be located at regular intervals based on the water requirement and to draw the water. Okay, so similar to the lake intake, the canal intake is also used to draw the less quantity of water for small water supply schemes for the villages and other areas. So we cannot draw more water and supply the huge quantity of water to the water treatment plant using the canal intakes. Okay, so these are different types of the intake structures which are used in the treatment of water. So once the water is drawn from these intakes, so it has to be taken to the treatment plant, and the next treatment of water treatment will follow. Okay, so that is aeration, sedimentation and other treatment. So next we have the twin well type of intake structures. Okay, so these twin well types of intake structures are constructed on almost all types of river where the river water hugs the river bank. Okay, so these are constructed in this location where the river water hugs the river bank. So these twin well types of, so this is constructed across the bank of the river. So these intake structures, it typically consists of the components, namely the inlet well, the inlet pipe and also the jack well. Okay, so this is the twin well type of intake structure. Okay, so this is the original ground lawn, so that, like I told you, so this is constructed usually where the river hugs the bank of the river. So this is one structure which is located partly in the river bank and the river. Okay, and this is the room. See, this is the structure associated with this, and this is the withdrawal conduit. So this is the water level in the river. So below this we will have this bar screen. Okay, and this is the minimum water level, and this may be the higher water level. So the one or two pipes can be located here to draw the water, and again in this inlet chamber or intake well, so we have one more fine screen. Okay, so this is the bar screen and this is the fine screen. This will remove even finer floating matter. So this is the port, and this will be the intake pipe and fitted with a bar screen. Water first enters into this chamber, and this is the control room. Okay, so the inlet pipe will be usually in circular cross section. It will be made up of the concrete or masonry structure. Okay, and this intake pipe so is connected to the intake well. Okay, and this is also called as the sump well, wet well or jack well. Okay, so it has a minimum diameter of 45 cm laid at a slope of 1 in 200. Okay, and water enters to this jack well. Okay, and through this withdrawal conduit, and water will be stored in this jack well, and water from this jack well is pumped using a appropriate suction pump. Okay, by using this suction pipe, and water is taken to the water treatment plant to treat the water for the next surfaces. And you see that here these two structures are constructed along the banks of the river where the river hugs the river bank. So this is the river bank area and this is the river area. That is why it is called as twin well type, because two wells are constructed in this type of intake structures, and there is a condition which is to be satisfied to construct this the intake structure. So this jack well should be found on hard strata having the bearing capacity greater than or equal to 450 kilonewton per meter square. Okay, and this is the twin well type of intake structures. Okay, and these are constructed where the river hugs the river bank, and it consists of two different wells and all these structures. And the footbridge is constructed, okay, to connect from this control room to the pump house, okay, and so that a person can walk over here and do any maintenance works. And it consists of two screens where the water is screened and then it is taken to the sump well or jack well. Okay, so this is the twin well type of the intake structure. Okay, so these are the different types of intake structures which are being used in the treatment and conveyance of the water. Okay, so in this class we have discussed about the different types of intake structures, that is canal intake, river intake, reservoir intake and twin well type of intakes. Okay, and anyone can be asked in your examination, so you try to practice the diagrams of this by writing, and maybe I will also include this in your assignment too. And probably in the next class we will cover about the aeration process. So the next process after the intake structures is the process of aeration. So after aeration the water is again treated by the different units, so which we will study in module 3 about the detailed sedimentation process, different types of sedimentation tanks and how the water is collected and how it is carried away. Okay, so from this class onwards, so we shall talk about the complete treatment process of water. So far we have discussed about the water quality, the how to different population forecasting methods, then about with respect to water quality, what are the parameters, what are the limiting values, desirable values and all those things. So you once again go through the in detail about the BIS water quality standards, because so everyone should be aware about the statutory norms. So it is the people's right to demand the good quality of water from the municipal authorities. Okay, so the water what we get through the piped water supply, it should conform to the norms laid down by the Ministry of Environment and Forest and Bureau of Indian Standards. Only that water is fit for drinking. Okay, so you once again go through this water quality parameters like physical, chemical and biological parameters and its limiting values. So once you know this, so we have to plan the water treatment units to satisfy all those requirements. Okay, so hence it is a mandatory requirement that we should treat the water as per the norms, and we should see that we supply the safe water free from all forms of contamination and impurities before supplying the water to the communities. Okay, so we'll stop at this stage. Okay, so fluoride rich water is of biggest concern in most of the areas in groundwater. Okay, so although this we shall discuss about the fluoride problems and all, maybe in the last class we have discussed about the fluoride issues. Okay, the problems associated with the fluoride are very common in our areas, so in and around, and also in many parts of our country. So because fluoride even in these higher very small concentrations will lead to the dental fluorosis and skeletal fluorosis. It will cause the dissolution of calcium from the bones, and the bones will be weakened. So care should be taken that we will remove all the necessary pollutants like fluoride and excess of hardness and all to supply the safe water to the communities. Okay, so we shall discuss about the aeration and the two film theory of aeration in the next process, the process of aeration and types of aerators, and that will complete your module 2. Okay, so see you in the next class.